I'm in Colorado at my parents' house. Yes, I'm currently living with my parents. And it sounds weird to say, but it's not really as weird. It just feels nice, like we're visiting, and it feels good, to be honest, like having been moving around constantly for the last 5 months and have a place to just be sedentary and still for a while feels amazing, but I don't quite get it yet. Like my head's still like, okay, well, when are we packing up and when are we leaving? It's like, no, you can put things away. Like you can settle in. Like you have all day without any motion if that is your desire. So that feels good. And it feels good to be like surrounded by nature and to be up in the mountains and to just be in a different community and get to immerse ourselves. And having a little issue, I mean, it's not massive, but my husband is like gung ho to find us a place to stay because we decided we're going to stay here for the winter. We're going to check out the snow. We're going to check out the community, see how we feel about it. And we are, of course, welcome to stay with my parents as long as we want. And I can understand why my husband would want to have our own place, which is totally fine. Yet, as soon as we got here, like 2 days ago, he was like on the horn, on Craigslist, looking at places, property management, blah, 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 all this stuff. And it's like, can we just breathe for a second? And I appreciate him. I totally appreciate how motivated, inspired, and like in action he is about it. And I'm not there. I'm just not in that place. And I wasn't in that place in Asheville either. I've really, over the last 5 months, learned to not push things, like learn to not basically slam my head against a wall. Like really looking for the space to open up to us to be able to walk through rather than like hitting up against all these obstacles. And so we went and looked at a place yesterday, which no, 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 I will not live there. And I'm having some stuff come up around feeling like a little prissy or like a little high maintenance wifey, which I know I'm not. But this place was just absolutely subpar and not worth what they're asking. And yes, it was in downtown, and my parents live about like 20 minutes outside of town, so that's not like ideal. But nothing else about the place was ideal too. I mean, I can't even begin to describe this place. There were perks. It was like there was a really cool hot tub like up the hill, up this little hike that we have, access to, and this really beautiful seating area where we look out over the mountains and can like have a glass of wine as the sun goes down. Prime, beautiful. But the actual home was pretty disgusting, and it was not someplace that I feel that I would be excited to live. The main thing is I would actually be embarrassed to invite people over. And that bothers me because I love having people in my home. I love having a beautiful space, a comfortable, warm space to invite people. And this just didn't feel like it. And it was really funny because we made this gorgeous ideal scene together. This basically massive, juicy desire list for the kind of house that we want to eventually have. It's like I recognize that we're building up to that. And we're saving money to like buy a house, which feels really good. And knowing that that we're not going to get everything on our ideal scene right now because it's just not the time for that. But one of the things on my ideal scene was, I want like a clawfoot bathtub. Like, oh, that just sounds so sexy and dreamy. And we walk into this place, which is just, and he was like, honey, look, your clawfoot bathtub. And it's like stuck in the corner and it's just dirty and nasty inside. Like I would not feel glamorous bathing in this thing. And the water, you have to like turn off the water valve in order to like actually make the water stop and turn it back on. And there's like weird outlets coming out of like the wall and weird places to plug in things and like faux switches and stuff. And it was just like, oh fuck, I'm gonna electrocute myself in this clawfoot bathtub. So we have a couple more conversations to have because my husband is wanting to get this place and there's nothing inside of myself is saying yes. So like I said, just more conversations to have myself be heard. But I just kept thinking about how, about desires and ideal scenarios and how this is not it whatsoever. And I recognize it along this journey as well that so many long term desires that I've had have manifested over this 5 month period. And just smiling at myself inside and recognizing the absolute divine perfection of the timing that these desires were placed in my life. And I may have wanted them so badly 1 year ago, 2 years ago, 3 years ago, but the fact that they happened now were so perfect and really so enjoyable and really so delightful. And I have to remind myself and remind my clients all the time that it's like, yes, we're given these desires because they were meant for us, because we're meant to like manifest them, but also we don't get to decide when. And that can be truly frustrating and truly aggravating for a woman who knows that she's powerful enough to get what she wants. So I was bringing that into mind, knowing that, okay, this is a really juicy ideal scene that we made. Like maybe it's not the time for that to manifest fully. And I understand, and I'm totally comfortable with that, like coming to fruition and us creating that home like we did, like we created our other home, or like we created, that's a bug, like we created our wedding. But I'm also very clear that in the meantime, I'm not willing to settle and overcompromise the things that I know that I need to make me happy. And that's big. I'm never, ever an advocate of settling. I'm an advocate of living for your dreams, living for your desires, living for what we want, knowing that they're always on their way to me, always on their way to all of us. But I'm also not willing to give up the fullness of who I am in the meantime. So that feels good to know. And to know that, like, the practical points of this place. Oh, it's in town. Oh, it could be inexpensive. Oh, it's month to month. Oh, it's all these other things that we need. But it's like, it would feel like a huge settle. And it would feel like a huge piece of myself I wasn't honoring. So I'm not willing to do that. So I will discuss that with my husband, and we will move on knowing that there is always something better. This or something even better, always. And I'm willing to hold out for that. Because I trust. I trust that I get to have what I want, and I trust that the universe loves me, adores me, and wants me to have everything I want. But I know it's my job to believe that, first and foremost. So stay tuned. I will keep us all updated of what happens here in the mountains. I'm going to go have a beautiful day with my mama.